What's up, Algebra 1? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're going to be looking at lesson 2.2, solving one-step equations. So how do we solve equations by using addition and subtraction, and then eventually multiplication and division. Before we get started on anything, we just have to look at a few properties of equalities. For solving one-step equations using addition or subtraction, we're going to use the addition property of equality and then the subtraction property of equality. And that basically states if a number is added to each side of the equation, the resulting equivalent equation is also true. And that just means we're trying to balance the equation. Your teachers in the past might have said, like, whatever you do to one side, you must also do to the other. So in this case, if I add C to the left side, I also have to add C to the right side, and vice versa. If I have to subtract C from the left side, I must also subtract C from the left side to see what I can do to get some variables by themselves. So we're going to try that here with example 1. When we see a subtraction problem, we're going to use the addition property of equality to balance the equation, or to essentially cancel out so that all that remains is my variable. And if you look right here, g minus 25, the minus 25 is with the g, so the opposite of minus 25 is going to be a positive 25. What I also like to do is draw a line down my equal sign to show the left and the right side. And again, the addition property of equality just states if I add 25 to the left side, I must also add 25 to the left side. Once I do that, minus 25 and plus 25 are opposites, so they were going to cancel out to a 0, and 113 plus 25 is going to be 138. So g is equal to 138, and I know I can solve that if I just plug it back in. So if I plug in to check, instead of g minus 25, I would just say, is 138 minus 25 actually 113? Yes, it is, so I know I got my solution correct. So see if you can try that same thing here with example 2, except now we're going to solve by subtracting and using that subtraction property of equality to solve the following equation. Go ahead and pause here, try it on your own, click play when you're ready to check. Alright, so we're going to solve this question by subtraction. The reason why we're solving by subtraction is because we want k all by itself, and 27 is a positive 27, so the opposite of 27 would be a minus 27 or a negative 27. 27 minus 27 cancels out, so all that's left is k, but then 30 minus 27 gives us 3, so our solution is appearing to be 3, and to check it, we just plug back in, so check and plug. Instead of 27 plus k, we're going to write 27 plus 3. Is that equal to 30? Yes, so I know I got my solution correct. Next up is when we have a writing equation and then we solve for it. This one gets a little confusing, so I'm going to try to give you some ideas about what to do here so not as confusing in your brain. In tennis, the Grand Slam tournaments are the four most prestigious annual events. At one point in his career, Roger Federer had won 3 more Grand Slam singles than Rafael Nadal. So what I like to do here is I like to say, okay, since it says Roger had won 3 more, that means Roger had the most, but Rafael had the least. Okay, so that's going to help me decide, does my answer actually make sense once I'm done? One way we like to think about this, because writing equations is kind of tricky, is to maybe think about how would I solve the equation first, and then whatever I do to solve the equation, I would show that opposite operation within my original equation. So if at the time Roger Federer held the record for the most Grand Slam singles, won with 17, how do I figure out how many titles Rafael had won? Remember, Roger had the most, so 17 needs to be the mark, whereas Rafael, we'll say R, plus 3, because Roger Federer had won 3 more than Rafael. Okay, so what we're trying to do is figure out how many titles had Rafael won. Well, if I represent R plus 3 is equal to 17, I can use that addition property of equality to see, or subtraction property of equality to see what Rafael won, and I'm getting Rafael won 14 because I used subtracting 3 on both sides. Now, that should make sense because it says Roger Federer had won 3 more than Rafael. If Rafael won 14, is 3 more 17? Yes, so Rafael won 14 and Roger won 17. The next part of our notes is going to be the multiplication and division property of equality. So again, we're just seeing that if an equation is true and each side is multiplied by the same number, then the resulting equation is equivalent. The same way would be for division. We are going to see a little bit more tricky items here, so I do want you to make sure you're paying close attention here, like how can we solve when there's a fraction involved, and what does that look like? So our first example we're going to look at here is 4a, and 4a has 3/8 x is equal to 94. Now right now we're seeing 3/8 being multiplied by x, so technically in order to solve for x we would need to divide by 3/8 on both sides, okay? Right now I'm showing you the long way, and then eventually you're going to figure out, oh, there's actually a shorter way to do this. We might have seen it actually in chapter 1. 3/8 divided by 3/8 is going to give us 1. So that's going to give us my x here. But 9/4 divided by 3/8 actually doesn't mean 9/4 divided by 3/8. Instead, it means 9/4 times 8/3, because anytime we divide a fraction, we're actually multiplying by its reciprocal, okay? Now, keeping that in mind, I'm going to come back here. And I want you to see what is happening between the 9/4 and the 3/8. We multiplied by 8/3. 8/3 is also the reciprocal of 3/8. So if I started with 3/8 x and I'm trying to get that all by itself and knocked out, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal 8/3, because 8/3 times 3/8 is 24/24, and that is still going to give me 1x. So whatever I multiply to one side, 8/3, I'm also going to multiply to the other side, 8/3. These are going to cancel out to give me just 1x. 9/4 times 4/3. If you want to just multiply straight across here, that'd be 72 over 12. But then we want to simplify 72 over 12. If we just divide that, we're going to end up with 6. Okay? Again, I can take this 6, plug it back into my x to see if I got it right, is 3/8 times 6 equal to 9/4. Let's check. 6 over 1, 3 times 6 on the top is 18, 8 times 1 on the bottom is 8. Is 8/18 equal to 9/4? Yes, because I can divide 18 and 8 by 2 to get 9/4. Let's see if you can try option B by yourself and then check in after you play the video. So go ahead and pause now, try letter B, and then check what you get in a minute. All right, letter B looks like we can draw a line down the equal sign. And then -14 and y are the things I need to break apart. -14 is being multiplied with y, so I'm going to divide both sides by -14. These -14s can cancel out because -14 divided by -14 is a positive 1y, but 42 divided by -14 is -3. Again, I can double check my answer. Oopsies, I didn't mean to cover all that up there. By plugging in this -3 where my y originally was, is -14 times -3 actually equal to 42? Yes, it is. One more example for us. We're going to read a problem here and then solve it. I'm going to give you a chance to solve it here in a second. So go ahead and pause the video, read through it, see if you can write down the equation, and then click play when you're ready to check. Okay, you might have needed some help to write the equation, so first let's write it. Kenji took a survey of the sophomore class. If 96 sophomores, or 2/3 of the class, said they're going to the football game on Saturday, how many sophomores won the survey? So we don't know the total amount of sophomores, so let's give that maybe the letter X. But we know that 2/3 of the class said they were going, and that would be 96. So this entire problem is equal to 96 sophomores going, but we surveyed and said that 2/3 of the sophomores would go to the game, okay? So the first step is deciding what does our equation look like, and it needs to be 2/3 times the number of sophomores is equal to 96. So 2/3 x. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to think about what can I do to get x all by itself? Get this 2/3 eliminated. Think back to what we did here. At first we talked about dividing both sides by 3/8, but when we really thought about that, dividing by 3/8 is the same thing as multiplying by 8/3. We're multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. 3/2 and 3/2. 3/2 times 2/3 is going to be 6/6, which is just x, because that'd be 1x. And then 96 times 3/2, that's like saying 96 times 3 over 2. We're going to get 288 on the top and 1 times 2 on the bottom. 288 divided by 2 is going to give us a grand total of 144 sophomores. Okay, again, I can double check that by plugging this back in to where I had my original question. Is 2/3 times 144 equal to 96? Yes, I would do 2 times 144, then divided by 3, I'm going to end up with 96. Okay, that's all for our lesson today. Hopefully this gives you some ideas about how to solve some one-step equations, especially with these fractions here, multiplying both sides by the reciprocal. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Have a great day. Bye.